guys, so in this particular lecture I'll be starting with a topic that is cryptographic technique. Remember, that is one of the most important topic when we talk about network security. Our whole subject is depends on this only. So what we mean by cryptography? In simple words, it says cryptography is a science of providing security for information. So we just need to secure our information, and to secure our information we are using one technique or a science, and that technique is called as cryptography. Now what we are doing here in cryptography, we basically enciphering and deciphering of a message that is in a secret code. That means encrypting and decrypting. That is what we mean by cryptography. Encrypting means converting readable text into non-readable format, and decrypting means vice versa, non-readable text to readable text. It has been used to obtain secure communication. Remember, it is for secure communication between individual and government agencies, banking, military forces, at any places. Most of time we use such techniques. The principle of cryptography are today applied for encryption of fax, television, computer network communication, and many different places. So here is the example how we basically apply a cryptography. As you can see, this is a readable message. This is a book on network internet security. Now we are going to provide a cryptographic system to this. This process is systematic and well structured. We are going to use some algorithms, and which algorithm we use, that will study in future lecture. So as you can see, just by applying some algorithm, that is cryptographic system, using a cryptographic system, we are going to apply some algorithm here, and that algorithm helps us to convert this readable text into, as you can see, this readable text into non-readable text. So this text are not readable now. One cannot interpret it so easily. Now how one can interpret? By decrypting it, means again making it from non-readable text to readable text. I hope this particular point is clear. This is what we mean by cryptographic technique. So as you can see here, the technique of decoding message from non-readable format back to readable format without knowing how they initially converted from readable to non-readable format. And that is what we mean by cryptanalysis. Remember, cryptanalysis. What we mean by cryptanalysis? We have to remember these points very clearly. So first is cryptography. Cryptography means converting readable text into non-readable text. When we talk about cryptanalysis, so cryptanalysis means converting unreadable or non-readable text. As you can see, these are non-readable text into readable message or readable text. That is what we mean by cryptanalysis. Now, one of the most important part, as you can see here, a definition which is given here, cryptology. Now, we already done about cryptography, converting readable into non-readable, cryptanalysis, non-readable to readable. Now all this technique, combination of this two is called as cryptology. So what we mean by cryptology? Cryptography plus cryptanalysis, that is equal to cryptology. Remember this very clearly. This plus this, if we combine both this technique, and that gives us cryptology. Now next is some basic terminology. Before we discuss some future points, we should have some understanding, or we should have knowledge about these definitions. So what we mean by plain text? Plain text means original message. This is what we mean by plain text. What we mean by cipher text? Cipher means codable message. Remember, it is a codable message. That is what we mean by cipher text. Then what we mean by cipher? Cipher, remember, cipher text means coded message, encrypted message. When we talk about just a cipher, cipher means algorithm. We are using some algorithm for transforming plain text to cipher text. What we mean by encipher or encrypt, converting plain to cipher text. That is what we mean by encipher. What we mean by decipher? Recovering original message. That is what we mean by decipher or decrypt. Now we use, for all this reason, we use some key. Remember, for encryption, for decryption, we use a key. Now, info used in cipher known only to sender and receiver. So how we are going to encrypt something? Encryption means locking a message, or decrypting means unlocking a message. So how we do that? Using a key. So here we have a different keys. Now what we mean by key, that we'll discuss in other algorithms. Cryptography, a study of encryption principle or methods, that we mean, that is what we mean by cryptography. Then comes cryptanalysis or code breaking, the study or principle of method of deciphering ciphertext without knowing the key. So basically hacking something. So I'm trying to decrypt a message which is not made for me. If it is made for me, then I should have key for the same, but I don't have key to decrypt those messages. Then what we do, we try to apply different algorithms on that, and using those algorithms we try to decrypt those messages. And when we do, or when we apply such technique, that is what we mean by cryptanalysis or code breaking. Then last, what we need to remember is cryptology, a field of both cryptography and cryptanalysis. That is what we mean by cryptology. I hope this particular point is clear. We already discussed this in before as well. Now, plain text and ciphertext. Clear text or plain text signifies a message that can be understood by sender, recipient, and also by anyone else who gets the message. There are two primary ways in which a plain text message can be modified or obtain corresponding ciphertext. What are those two ways? That we'll discuss. So how to convert a plain text message into non-readable text format? There are two types of the same. That we'll discuss. As you can see, transforming a plain text message into ciphertext, we have two techniques present here. One is substitution technique and second is transposition technique. One is substitution and second is transposition technique. We'll discuss one by one. And here I have provided one diagram or mind map here. As you can see, we have secret writing, we have different techniques, that is cryptography, or what is cryptography? We already discussed about this. Then we have different types of algorithms under this. We have steganography, means hiding information within some photograph. That is what we mean by steganography. Then cryptography, again divided in some few parts, that is classical cipher and modern cipher. Classical cipher again divided in parts like substitution, transposition, and as you can see there are different types. So just for your reference, I have made this particular mind map so you can easily remember it. And these are the algorithm which we are going to discuss in right now. So let's start discussing. First we'll discuss about a cipher. What we mean by cipher? As you can see, when we talk about a cipher in cryptography, a cipher is an algorithm. Remember, it is an algorithm for performing encryption or decryption. An algorithm which we use encrypting or decrypting, and that is what we mean by cryptography. A cipher is an algorithm. So what algorithm we use for encryption, encrypting a text and decrypting a text? Encryption means converting plain text into non-readable text, and decryption or decrypting means converting non-readable format to readable format. So it can be symmetric or asymmetric pattern. We have two patterns. Now it might get difficult for you when you are reading this for first time, but believe me, when we discuss future algorithm, you will get much better idea about this two technique, what we mean by symmetric and what we mean by asymmetric. Remember, when we talk about symmetric key cryptography, here we use one single key for locking and unlocking our message. That means lock means converting it into non-readable format, and unlocking means from non-readable format convert it into readable format. So in this particular, that is symmetric pattern, we use same key for encryption as well as for decryption, or for locking as well as for unlocking. when we talk about a symmetric pattern, this is bit more secure as compared to symmetric pattern. Why? In this particular type, we use public key of sender for locking the message and public key of receiver. So for example, if you try to send me a message, then before sending it to me, you people are going to encrypt or lock that message using my public key, which is known in a public domain, which is I have provided that public key to each and every one of you so that we can communicate easily. So while sending some message to me, what you guys going to do, you are going to encrypt that document using my public key, and once I receive that document, I'm going to unlock it or I'm going to decrypt it using my private key. Remember, so in asymmetric cryptographic pattern, we use two keys. One is public and one is private. Two different keys we use in asymmetric pattern for encryption as well as for decryption. And in symmetric pattern, we use same key for encryption as well as for decryption. I hope this particular point is clear. So as you can see, asymmetric public key cryptography in asymmetric algorithm uses different keys for encryption as well as for decryption. And here, as you can see, same key is used for encryption as well as for decryption. Now, stream cipher encrypts the digits, typically bits of a message, one at a time. We have one cipher technique which is called as stream cipher. Stream means we have bit stream 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1, like this. We have different bits. So what we are going to do, we are going to encrypt our message in this bit by bit pattern. Not whole message gets encrypted at once, but we encrypt our message in this stream pattern. For example, when we are broadcasting some match or when we are broadcasting some video, at that point of time, we don't have whole video present at once with us. So as soon as some telecast comes to us, before broadcasting it, what we are going to do, we are going to encrypt it and then we broadcast it. So our dish TV basically receives that signal, decrypt it, and then produce the same output on our television screen. So here, as you can see, we have the stream cipher, which basically what it does, it basically typically encrypts or provides or processes the message in a stream pattern. So as soon as I receive new bits, I'm going to encrypt those bits as well. So we don't have whole message at once. So what we are going to do, as soon as we receive something, we are going to encrypt it and send it over. Encrypt it, send it over. This is the pattern we use here. Then we have block cipher that take a number of bits and encrypt them as a single unit, a block. So what we are going to do, we are going to take a whole big block of data at once and encrypt it. So block of 64 to 128 bit of data we are going to use. We are going to from the whole message gets divided in small blocks. So here we can divide our whole message into block size of 64 bits or 128 bits, and then those blocks we are going to encrypt one by one. So that is what it is written here. Now there are two types of ciphers, as we already checked in that particular diagram. One is classical cipher and second is modern cipher. Classical cipher, it is very old pattern. So when basically this cryptographic pattern comes in existence, so at that time we were using some algorithms, classical ones, but in today's time everyone knows about those algorithms. So if I encrypt my message using this type of algorithm, it is very easy for anyone to decrypt those messages. So we just take basic idea from this classical algorithm and then we use some modern algorithm to actually encrypt our message. So let's discuss what we mean by classical cipher. It is a type of a cipher that was used historically, as I already discussed. Basically, in big battle, when two kings fighting with each other, in that particular time, when both those kings are at a battlefield, so at that point of time, if someone needs help, so kings used to encrypt their message and send it over so that their rivals or their opponents can't understand what is written in that message. If one can easily decrypt those messages, then they can get the tactics or what strategy they are going to follow in future, and one can easily lose that war. So for that reason, what they basically do, they used to encrypt their message. So this particular pattern is in existence from years and years. So kings used to follow this message and this pattern, and now we started using the same pattern in our computers. So it is not something unique, but it was in existence during World War I, World War II as well. And the same technique we applied now in computer world. So a classical cipher is a type of cipher which was used historically. In general, classical cipher operates on alphabets. Remember, it basically encrypts messages using this alphabets only. So we have total 26 alphabets, A to Z. So using those alphabets only, we are going to encrypt our message. Nothing some special characters like @ dollar or some other characters or numbers. So we are using alphabets here and are implemented by hand or with simple mechanical devices. We do have many different devices. I'll show you their diagrams as well. Sender and receiver shares the same key. So we have two types of cryptographic pattern, symmetric and asymmetric. In symmetric, we use same key for encryption as well as for decryption. And in asymmetric, we use two different keys. Public key, receiver's public key for encryption, and receiver himself uses his private key for decryption. So the public key, private key concept in asymmetric, and only simple one plain key we use in symmetric pattern. So as you can see, sender and receiver shares the same key. So which type of cryptographic pattern is this? Symmetric pattern. A classical encryption and decryption algorithm all are symmetric. Basically, they were using symmetric pattern only. Same key was used for encryption as well as for decryption. So classical cipher comes in two types. Broadly, it is divided in two types. Broadly, now again these are divided in subparts. As you can see, substitution cipher and transposition cipher. Substitution cipher means substitute one alphabet with another alphabet. We'll discuss it now. So as you can see, substitution cipher again divided in four different patterns, as you can see here. So what do you mean by substitution cipher? Is a method of encryption by which units of plain text are replaced with cipher text according to a regular system. We'll discuss what we mean by this. Now we have four types of algorithms present here: monoalphabetic cipher, polyalphabetic cipher, Polygram Cipher, and Homophonic Cipher. Let's discuss one by one. So we'll start with substitution cipher. Under that, we'll start with very first is Ceasar Cipher. So to understand this particular algorithm, monoalphabetic cipher and all this, we should start with very basic. So one of the most basic type of algorithm is, as you can see in this diagram, we have Ceasar Cipher. In this Ceasar Cipher, we have some patterns present here. As you can see, if my message is ABC, so what we basically do here, we basically replace our message or alphabet which is present in our message with its third position alphabet. So from A, the third position alphabet is D. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to replace this particular alphabet with A alphabet with D, B alphabet with E, and C alphabet with F. So replace original alphabet with its next third position alphabet. That is what we mean by Ceasar Cipher, and that is one type of substitution. Means we are substituting one alphabet with another alphabet. So in substitution cipher technique, the character of a plain text message are replaced by another character and number of symbols as well. So let's discuss some points which I have listed here. So as you can see, the scheme explained earlier, or replacing an alphabet with 3 place down the order, was first proposed by, now we don't need to remember this name, his name was there Ceasar, and that is the only reason we termed it as a Ceasar Cipher. It was first example of substitution cipher. The substitution cipher technique, the characters of a plain text message are replaced by other character, numbers or symbols. So we now started replacing the other characters with numbers and symbol. But when first time it was invented, we used to replace one alphabet with, or we used to substitute one alphabet with second alphabet only. The Ceasar Cipher is a special case of substitution technique wherein each alphabet in a message is replaced by alphabet third position down the line. That is what we just discussed in this particular diagram as well. As you can see, A is replaced by D, that is third position from A, then B. So from B we have on third position. On first position we have C, D and E. So B is going to be replaced by E. Then same way C. So from C on third position we have F. So we are going to replace C with F. That is what we mean by this particular statement. So the message in message is replaced by alphabet 3 position down the line. For instance, using Ceasar Cipher, a plain text. So it is just for you. Try to replace it and try to work with this. The Ceasar Cipher is a very weak scheme of hiding a plain text, as we just discussed now. So now if I give you some message which is in a non-readable format, so obviously one is going to try the same pattern. Replace each alphabet which is present in encrypted text with its previous third position. So reverse the algorithm pattern. That is what we basically do. That is, replace each alphabet in a text message produced by a Ceasar Cipher with alphabet in a 3 place up the line. Does the work backwards. Take a cipher, produce Ceasar Cipher and replace A with X, B with Y and C with Z. And same way we go on and on. I hope this particular point is clear. I'm just kidding. So as you can see here, this is what we mean by our first substitution cipher, that is Ceasar Cipher. Now in next lecture, we'll continue discussion about modified Ceasar Cipher and polyalphabetic and many different algorithms. I hope whatever we discussed till now, all the points are clear. So in future lecture, we'll continue from this particular lecture. Thank you. And one more point, that notes, you can download notes from the link given in video description section. In all the video description section, you will find a link from where you can download notes for this subject as well as for other subject as well. So just check video description section. There you will find link to download this particular subject's notes. I hope whatever we discuss in this particular lecture is clear to you. And if you have any doubt or query, you can just comment, or I'd already give you email ID as well in my very first lecture. You can just ping me on that email ID as well. And if you have any doubt or suggestion, you can, obviously your comments are always welcome. You can just comment it in a comment section as well. So thank you, have a nice day, and see you in the next lecture. Bye bye.